Hey, what's up, everybody? So tonight, as we continue down the road toward Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we're kind of speculating on, theorize and speculate, whatever word you want to use, on the trajectory of characters that are upcoming. I want to kind of start the conversation on each character, right? On each character we haven't seen yet. We just did Sid, right? We just did Sid Highwind. We just talked about him. I wanted to save this one for tonight because I got a lot to say about this character, right? This character is very important. This character is important to me because he was actually my favorite character in the original game. And by no surprise, we're talking about Vincent Valentine tonight. Let's get the conversation started about Mr. Valentine, the former Turk, the former Shinra operative. Let's get the conversation started. Basically tonight, what I want to talk about is my proposed introduction, or how I would like to see him kind of introduced and handled in Remake Part 2. So before we get into it though, if you all have not already, please look up here. Social media, Twitter, Instagram, follow me there if you want to keep up with all of my art projects, animation projects, and anytime I got videos going up, don't miss any of it. Go up here, follow me there. Support me on Patreon if you want to. For $1 a month, you can support the studio and get some extra stuff. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. So, I've kind of touched on it before with Vincent Valentine, talking about how I would like to see him handled in Part 2, how I'd like to see him introduced. Of course, I would like to see him still, in Nibelheim, still asleep, kind of asleep in stasis in the basement of the mansion. But I want there to be a little more to it this time. I would love to see, when you get to Nibelheim, I want it to be really creepy. I want it to be like X-Files, right? Like Tifa and Cloud, or like this place was burned to the ground. What the hell is going on? Like all the houses are rebuilt exactly how they looked back in the day. They're all furnished exactly, and like Tifa goes into her house, Cloud goes into his house. They're furnished to a T, an exact replica. And it needs to be really weird, right? It needs to be really strange for the characters. But not only that, but you've got the Genova Estes subjects walking around, reunion, and all this kind of stuff, right? It's just a really creepy atmosphere. And not only that, but something is watching the party. Now, I don't know, I think Vincent could still be asleep in the basement, in the coffin, because he's choosing to be in there, right? When you go in and knock on the coffin, it opens up and he does this back flying flip out of the coffin and hovers over the coffin, and he's talking to them, and then he flips and goes back to sleep if he doesn't like what they have to say. He can get up and get out of there. He can get up and he's not asleep. He tells them, go away, go away. He's choosing to put himself into a sleep. So I think it would be really cool if, yes, he lives in there, but he senses a presence. He senses a disturbance in the force, right? When they get to Nibelheim, he's like, let me check this out. You know what I mean? And then as the party's investigating Nibelheim, Barrett is the first one to, what the hell was that? It wasn't one of those hooded guys. It was, something's watching us. So there it is again. Nobody saw that, It's like Vincent kind of peeking in on them and kind of disappearing, I think that would be a really cool way. And then slowly but surely, other party members start to see Vincent, and they're like, oh my god, what's going on here? Even Red 13, Tifa, Aerith, Cloud, they're all like, okay, it seems to be coming from the mansion. Let's go investigate the mansion. Let's go investigate the Shinra mansion. Let's go in there. So then you go in there, you investigate, you're doing your due diligence and everything, and then you go into the basement. You do the thing with Vincent. But to get in there, you're looking for a key, right? And people have been like, where's Lost Number? Where's Lost Number going to play into this? So you could still try to do the safe puzzle and all this kind of stuff to get Vincent. There could be clues pointing you there thematically throughout the part with the mansion. The type of runaround that Square Enix would want to give you to kind of put more hours onto the game. I don't want this to take a long time. I'm not saying tack 3 or 4 hours onto your gameplay by doing this part. But, 30 minutes to run around trying to find a way to get Vincent out of there in story, not just as an added bonus thing, but in story. You fight Lost Number. Or maybe you fight Lost Number and it's a losing battle, and then Vincent comes to help you out or something. Or maybe Lost Number is cursing, or he's plaguing the mansion. He has something to do with the S-Test subjects. Or maybe he plays a bigger role in the story this time. He's a creation of Hojo to kind of warden over the Shinra mansion there for some reason. And Vincent wants to get rid of him too, and he comes in and helps the party get rid of him. Maybe that's how he's introduced, or maybe after you fight Lost Number, you go into the basement. Point is, there's a story way to get Vincent into your party, and he will not be optional. He will be a main storyline player in the game. I don't see them doing that any other way. They know how popular Vincent Valentine is. They're not going to make him optional. They're going to write him into the story, and they're going to write Lucretia and Hojo and Professor Gas and all that kind of stuff into the story. Any crumb that's ever fallen off the table of the creative meetings for Final Fantasy VII, back in the day, during the compilation, whatever, they're all getting used. They're all going to get used in some form or fashion. So, Vincent Valentine joins the party. Now, what's he going to be like, right? What's he going to be like? I talked about this on stream the other day a little bit, kind of one of the reasons I wanted to do this video. I think he's going to have a lot of insight about what's going on for the party. I think he will have some insight into what the whispers were for the party and kind of what's going on now. Between Bugenhagen and Vincent, and even what Sephiroth might tell the party in points, I think those three are the biggest sources of information outside of Aerith, because Aerith's not going to divulge the information, I don't think. She might. I don't think she's going to. I think you got Bugenhagen, you got Sephiroth, you got Vincent. I think those are the big three players as far as who knows what is going on. Because I feel like Vincent's going to be when they go through the Shinra library, I feel like in the Nibelheim mansion, I think when they're going through that, it's going to be this really cool looking scene, almost like something out of like a Dracula movie with walls and walls of books everywhere, like a New York library or something. And Vincent's going to be walking the halls with us yes, I've read every book in this library. He's going to be almost like the Nosferatu of the group. He's going to feel very ancient. He's going to feel very knowledgeable. He's going to feel like sagely, I feel like. But he's also going to be depressed and mopey too. But he will have read every book in that basement. He will know every secret about Shinra. He will know all this stuff. And he is going to choose to stay in that basement in the mansion for his sins because of the Sephiroth thing. Just the same reason Lucretia banishes herself to her cave, because of the Sephiroth thing. I think that's how that's going to play out in the story now moving forward. Vincent Valentine, I think how he will handle in battle is going to be absolutely top tier amazing, because one of the things I said on stream the other night when we did our fun little stream, just talking about theories and stuff, I joked that Capcom made Devil May Cry, made Dante, because they couldn't get the rights to do a Vincent Valentine video game. I felt like Devil May Cry was influenced by Vincent Valentine, right? And maybe it was. Who knows? But here's the thing. I think Vincent Valentine should handle a lot like Dante from Devil May Cry. Between, switching back and forth between like demonic, beastly powers. He should fight with ferocity, Start calm, but maybe he's got a berserk meter. As it fills up, he starts getting more grunty and more trying to fight off the beast in him, or fight off the chaos that's been put inside of him, because he has a direct link to chaos. He does represent chaos in the story, and I think Genesis will be the embodiment of chaos. But I think Vincent and Genesis will have a tie in that way, but I'm not going to talk too much about him tonight. There will be more Vincent videos coming, so I'm not going to get into everything with Vincent tonight, because I'm still thinking about some things. But as far as battle, I think it would be really cool if he had a rage meter. The more you fight, the higher it goes, depending on how you fight. Like if you use a lot of big moves with Vincent, it jacks up the meter until it gets to a point where that's almost like his limit gauge, right? And when it fills up, he's overtaken by whatever beast is set at that limit break. And it's like that until the end of the battle, right? I think it would be cool. He's got to have some really cool, like, almost like a slash between Noctis and Final Fantasy VII, or Final Fantasy 15. Excuse me. For all of y'all who are going to bomb me in the comments over that slip. Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, I thought it was really cool how you could teleport around. I did get sick of it after a while, like that gameplay mechanic. I got tired of it, but at first I was like, oh, this is cool, you know? My first thought when I played that game was, this would be a dope way to do Vincent Valentine. But yeah, like a cross between Vincent Valentine with some really cool gunplay and, you know, a little dash of Dante from Devil May Cry in there. I think that would be excellent. And I think you should have an option to go, like, you know how Cloud has like operator mode and then you switch over to like the heavy hitting stuff. I think if with Vincent, you should have like a hand-to-hand mode and like a gun mode. It's like if you put the gun away, like he doesn't fight like Tifa, but he's fast and ferocious like an animal. Like he's clawing at people. Like, don't give him that big gold glove with the claws on it if you can't use it. You know what I mean? He's got this awesome gauntlet with these nice claws on, his razor sharp claws to just pose with. Use that thing, you know? So have the option to put the gun away, tear into some enemies, and if you use that option, like the gauge fills up faster. Like you're getting the blood on your hands, right? Like if you use the gun, you can keep the gauge from filling up, right? Because you're at a distance or what have you. But with you use your hands, that gauge starts to fill up and the beast within starts to kind of well up inside of him. You know, I think that would be really dope. And have him all over the place like an aerial combat. Like have him like doing crazy weird behind the back shots and like double hand, you know, barrel shots like up in the air, teleporting around and stuff. I think that would be awesome, man. And it's also probably not going to happen because you wouldn't want to use any other characters. I mean, for real. Made Vincent as badass as possible and used all the ideas you've ever had for Vincent Valentine. You might use the other characters to beef them up to their max levels, but you're going to be Vincent all the time in battle. You know, that would just be too fun. That would be too fun. So I think Vincent, there's a lot of promise with that character. There's a lot coming down the pike with that character, with the Lucrezia's storyline. And a lot of you all have been asking me if I think they're going to do the they're going to do the story switch where Vincent is Sephiroth's father. I wouldn't spoil it for you here. I don't think they're going to do that. But I do feel like the blood feud between Vincent and Hojo is going to be through the roof. Because Hojo... Now, let's not get it twisted, right, with Lucrezia. Lucrezia had a hand in that. She's not absolved of guilt. She had as much hand in creating Sephiroth as Hojo did. She agreed to it. She agreed to the experiment to have Hojo impregnate her and inject the Genova S cells into her womb and whatever. You know what I mean? She agreed to that. She wasn't like held down and experimented on against her will like Vincent was. So Vincent can do the sympathy for his love and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But she's just as guilty as Hojo is in this situation. But I feel like Lucrezia is redeemable and Hojo is not, right? Because Hojo was mad. Lucrezia is not mad. She was scientifically curious. She did break Vincent's heart. Now, in Remake's story, whether they go with she knew she was breaking his heart or she was oblivious, because sometimes, you know, scientifically minded people aren't always hip to other people's feelings. Like Vincent is a sympathetic, like he's an emotional character. You know what I mean? He's very outward about his love for Lucrezia and how he failed her and all this kind of stuff. He's a very wears his emotions on his sleeve kind of guy, despite being a monster. Lucrezia might not have picked up on that, but I do feel like in the current storyline of Final Fantasy VII, as it goes, as it were, she does see what she did was wrong and she feels regret for it, whereas Hojo does not. So I like her character because of that. and I think it's going to go a long way for telling the story of Vincent's character. So, whatever you want to do with that. But I'm going to wrap that up right there. I want to drop those first thoughts on Vincent. Let's start the conversation about Vincent Valentine. Throw your comments below. Let me know what you think of that. If you dug the video, throw a like on it. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the love, as always. Again, follow me on my social medias up here, right there. Check that out. Twitter, Instagram. Follow me on there. Let's get the conversation rolling on there. And until then, you'll have a great night. Keep rocking. Be safe out there. Be good to each other. I'll see you on the next video.